Bath is a beautiful old city in England, famous for its ancient abbey and charming streets. Every summer, tourists flood the city, filling the roads with excitement and noise. Henry and Chloe, two students living in Bath, loved their city deeply. Henry enjoyed admiring the stunning old architecture, while Chloe preferred wandering through narrow lanes, discovering hidden shops and cozy cafes where they could sit together and watch the world go by. One hot Sunday afternoon, the city was busier than usual. Tourists from all over the world crowded around the abbey, and the heat made everything feel overwhelming. Chloe suggested they escape the chaos and find a quieter street away from the crowds. Henry agreed immediately, always happy to spend time with her. They walked away from the abbey and soon found themselves in a peaceful little street behind it. Only a few tourists wandered here, and the shops had small windows with pretty displays. Some houses had lovely gardens, and the atmosphere felt calm and welcoming. As they strolled along, they heard music drifting through the air. A man was playing a flute on the sidewalk, and a few people had stopped to listen. Henry suggested they go closer, and they crossed the street to watch him perform. Chloe noticed there were only a few coins in his hat and wondered why he chose such a quiet location when most tourists were elsewhere. She recognized the tune he was playing and dropped a coin into his hat. Henry took her hand, and they continued walking toward the next street. They soon discovered a small antique shop with coins and stamps displayed in the window. The items came from different countries and looked fascinating. Chloe thought it would be interesting to explore inside, so they entered together. The shop was tiny, and an elderly man behind the counter watched them carefully. He was the shopkeeper, and his expression wasn't particularly welcoming. Henry asked if they could look at the stamps, explaining that he wanted to start a collection. The shopkeeper seemed suspicious but allowed him to browse. Henry became absorbed in examining stamps from Russia and North America, commenting on how beautiful they were. Meanwhile, Chloe looked at some old coins and asked the shopkeeper about their age. He told her they were 400 years old and very valuable, emphasizing that everything in his shop was precious. A young woman also worked in the shop, and when Chloe smiled at her, the woman didn't smile back. The unfriendly atmosphere made Chloe uncomfortable. Suddenly, a telephone rang in the back room. The shopkeeper hesitated before glancing at the young woman, and though they didn't speak, Chloe understood his look meant she should watch them carefully. He excused himself and went to answer the call. Henry was still fascinated by the stamps, but Chloe felt uneasy and suggested they leave. The young woman watched them go, and Chloe noticed she seemed relieved when they walked out. Back on the main streets filled with tourists, Chloe felt better. The sun was blazing, and Henry wanted something cold to drink. They headed to a cafe near the park and sat at an outdoor table. Chloe asked if they could visit a museum next, but Henry wanted to rest first. She could tell he was still thinking about those North American stamps, even though they were too expensive. After a few minutes, they heard someone shouting. The old shopkeeper was hurrying toward them, his face red with anger. He accused them of stealing his valuable coins, claiming they went missing after Henry and Chloe left the shop. Both of them were stunned. The people at nearby tables stared as Chloe and Henry insisted they had taken nothing. Henry demanded to know if the shopkeeper had actually seen them steal anything, but the old man didn't answer directly. A policeman walking past noticed the commotion and approached them. The shopkeeper explained that coins had disappeared while he was answering the phone, and he claimed this wasn't the first time valuable items had vanished after students visited his shop. The policeman asked Henry and Chloe for their side of the story. They explained they had only looked at stamps and taken nothing. When asked who else was in the shop, the shopkeeper mentioned Nancy, his assistant, insisting she would never steal from him because he'd already checked her bag and pockets. Chloe immediately offered to let the shopkeeper search her belongings as well. He looked through her bag and Henry's pockets while everyone watched, but found nothing. The old man apologized reluctantly, confused about where his coins could be. The policeman suggested they might still be somewhere in the shop, and the shopkeeper left, clearly unhappy. As music drifted over from some young musicians nearby, Chloe suddenly remembered something. The flute player from earlier had been performing the same tune. She realized the answer to the mystery and told Henry and the policeman that she knew where the missing coins were. They ran together back to the street near the shop. The flute player was preparing to leave when they arrived. The policeman stopped him and asked him to wait. Chloe accused him of having the coins, and though he tried to deny it and run away, the policeman held him back. Henry asked how it was possible, and Chloe explained her theory. While the shopkeeper was on the phone and they were distracted by the stamps, Nancy had passed the valuable coins through the window to the flute player outside. He dropped them into his hat, where they looked like ordinary donations. People on the street saw nothing suspicious because it seemed like a normal tip. A police car arrived shortly after, and both Nancy and the flute player were taken away. The shopkeeper was grateful and embarrassed. He thanked Chloe for solving the mystery and asked what he could give her as a reward. She smiled and said he should give Henry those North American stamps he'd been admiring, so he could finally start his collection. Henry's face lit up with joy, and he pulled Chloe close, telling her he loved her. In that moment, surrounded by the warm afternoon sun and the bustling streets of Bath, everything felt perfect. Their kindness and cleverness had solved a crime, brought them closer together, and given Henry the treasure he'd been dreaming of all along.